Think for a moment about the possibility that the world you see, touch, and feel is not the ultimate reality, but a carefully constructed veil. Imagine that behind the curtains of our daily struggles and silent anxieties, there are ancient, invisible forces working to keep your consciousness anchored in a cycle of limitation. These entities, known in the deepest esoteric traditions as the Archons, have been whispered about in secret chambers and forgotten scrolls for 2,000 years. But what if I told you that a specific, revolutionary question was taught by Jesus to his closest disciples, not just as a moral lesson, but as a master key to expose these architects of the shadows? Today we are embarking on a journey into the heart of the Gnostic mysteries, peeling back the layers of a wisdom that was hidden from the masses to protect the spark of divinity within you. We will explore the secret teachings of the Nag Hammadi library and the profound revelations that explain why your soul feels like a stranger in a strange land. I promise you that by the end of this exploration, the truth about your own origin will become undeniable. We will go through 7 sacred keys of understanding, and you must stay until the end, because the final revelation is the most important and powerful of them all, capable of shattering the chains of the Archons once and for all. If you are a seeker of truth, someone who feels the call of the mysteries and refuses to accept the superficial answers of the modern world, then you have found your home. Before we dive into the depths of this ancient knowledge, please subscribe to our channel and join our community of awakened souls. Leave a like on this video to help this light reach others, and share your thoughts in the comments as we move forward. What we are about to reveal will change the way you understand life, death, and the very structure of the universe itself. The path to liberation begins now. To understand the liberation that Jesus offered, we must first look directly into the eyes of the captors. In the ancient Gnostic texts, the Archons are described not as physical monsters, but as cosmic rulers and psychological forces that govern the lower realms of existence. These entities are the builders of the labyrinth, the architects of the ego, and the masters of distraction. They thrive on the energy of fear, guilt, and the constant feeling of separation from the divine source. According to the renowned scholar Elaine Pagels, these early Christian mysteries suggested that our spiritual amnesia is not an accident, but a deliberate design to keep the light of the soul from recognizing its own majesty. The Archons operate through the structures of this world, influencing the mind to believe that the material reality is the only reality. Have you ever felt a sudden, heavy weight of anxiety or a sense of worthlessness that seemed to come from nowhere? Have you ever noticed how the world constantly demands your attention, pulling you away from the stillness of your own spirit? These are the subtle fingerprints of the Archons. They want you to remain a passenger in your own life, moving through the days in a state of spiritual sleep. But Jesus came to bring a fire that consumes these illusions. He spoke of the prince of this world, yet in the private gatherings with those who had ears to hear, he revealed that these rulers are only powerful as long as they remain hidden behind the curtain of your ignorance. Reflect on your own journey for a moment. Can you identify the moments in your life where you felt an invisible force trying to hold you back from your true purpose? Share your experiences in the comments below, for when we speak the truth of our struggles, we begin to weaken the hold of the shadows. As we move deeper into this sacred knowledge, we are approaching the core of the mystery. The question that Jesus taught is a weapon of light, and as we unfold the next layers of this teaching, you will begin to see through the fabric of the matrix itself. Remember, we are only at the beginning of this revelation, and the final part will provide the ultimate key to your spiritual sovereignty. The Jesus we find in the ancient Gnostic scrolls is not merely a figure of history, but a master of spiritual psychology and a guide through the cosmic shadows. In the secret Gospel of Thomas and the Apocryphon of John, he appears as a light bringer who warns his followers that the path to the Father is blocked by the rulers of the lower heavens. The late scholar Marvin Meyer, a pioneer in the study of these lost scriptures, noted that the Gnostic Jesus taught a message of radical self-knowledge. He taught that the Archons fear one thing above all else: the moment a human being realizes they are not a product of this material world, but a fragment of the infinite light that existed before the stars were born. The Archons maintain their control by weaving a web of false identities. They want you to define yourself by your career, your social status, your physical body, and your past mistakes. By doing this, they trap your consciousness within the boundaries of the material realm, But Jesus spoke of a kingdom that is within you and all around you, yet hidden from those who look only with physical eyes. He explained that to reveal the Archons is to recognize their influence within your own thoughts. Every time you feel a sense of lack, every time you judge another soul, and every time you feel small and insignificant, you are experiencing the frequency of the Archons. They are the masters of the counterfeit spirit, a force that mimics your own inner voice to lead you away from the truth. Pause for a moment and look inward. Can you distinguish between the voice of your true spirit and the voice of the world that tells you that you are not enough? This realization is the first step toward the great unveiling. We are moving closer to the heart of the mystery, where the specific question Jesus used to shatter this illusion will be revealed. This question was designed to act like a mirror, reflecting the Archon's true nature back to them until they could no longer stand the light of your presence. In the next part, we will explore how this ancient wisdom was suppressed and why its recovery today is the most important event for your spiritual evolution. Stay with me, for the deepest secrets are yet to be told. The suppression of this sacred light was no accident. For centuries, the teachings that could liberate humanity were hunted, buried, and burned by those who sought to maintain earthly power. The official history we were taught often leaves out the moment when the institutional structures of the world decided which truths were safe for the masses and which were too dangerous to be known. Scholars like James Robinson, who spent a lifetime translating the ancient codices, suggest that what was lost was not just a collection of books, but a different way of existing in the universe. When the scrolls were hidden in jars near Nag Hammadi in the 4th century, it was a desperate act of preservation by seekers who knew that the Archons operate best in the shadows of institutional dogma and rigid control. These ancient seekers understood that the Archons use fear and the threat of punishment to keep the spirit small. By replacing the direct, personal experience of the divine with a system of external rules, the rulers of this world created a barrier between the soul and its source. But the recovery of these texts in 1945 was a cosmic alarm clock. It reminded us that the wisdom of Jesus was never meant to be a religion of heavy burdens, but a path of absolute liberation. The Archons want you to believe that the truth is far away, held by experts or hidden behind closed doors, but the message of the Gnostic Christ is that the truth is closer to you than your own breath. It is a frequency that you can tune into once you learn to recognize the static of the world. Stop and wonder for a moment. Why was this information kept from us for nearly 2,000 years? What is so powerful about your own consciousness that empires and ancient forces would go to such lengths to keep it suppressed? This realization should fill you with a sense of immense reverence for your own existence. You are not a random accident of biology. You are a threat to the very structure of the matrix. In the upcoming parts of our journey, we will finally approach the specific question that acts as the ultimate filter for the Archons. This question is the bridge between being a servant of the shadows and being a sovereign being of light. Share in the comments if you have ever felt that there was more to the story of your spiritual history than what you were told. We are peeling back the final layers now. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a grand cathedral, a space of infinite peace and resonance. Now, imagine that a subtle, foreign frequency has begun to vibrate within these walls, mimicking the sound of the holy choir so perfectly that you can no longer tell the difference between the divine song and the distorted echo. In the secret teachings of the Apocryphon of John, this is referred to as the counterfeit spirit. This is the primary tool of the Archons. It is a psychological parasite that attaches itself to your soul, feeding you thoughts of lack, jealousy, and fear, while convincing you that these thoughts are your own. The renowned scholar Hans Jonas, who deeply explored the existential nature of Gnosticism, described this state as a form of cosmic intoxication. We have been made to drink from the cup of forgetfulness, losing sight of our true nature as beings of the eternal light. The Archons do not want to destroy you. They want to utilize you. They need your creative energy, your passion, and your divine spark to power their artificial world. To do this, they must keep you in a state of constant reaction. Every time you react with anger to a headline, every time you feel the sting of comparison on social media, and every time you doubt your own spiritual authority, the counterfeit spirit is strengthening its hold. But Jesus taught that the light within is greater than any ruler of this world. He showed that the first step to dismantling this influence is to become an observer of your own mind. By watching your thoughts without identifying with them, you begin to see the Archons for what they are: mere shadows that vanish when a light is turned on. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how much of what I believe about myself is actually true, and how much is just a story told to me by a world that wants to keep me controlled? This reflection is essential as we prepare for the final stages of our journey. We are now standing on the threshold of the most guarded secret of all. The question Jesus used to expose these entities is a direct challenge to the authority of the counterfeit spirit. In the next part, we will finally articulate this question and explain exactly how to use it in your daily life to clear the path for your soul's return to the source. Do you feel the weight of the veil beginning to lift? Let us move forward into the light, for the most powerful revelation is almost within your grasp. We have reached the moment of clarity, the point where the ancient teachings transition from theory into a living power. In the dialogues preserved in the first apocalypse of James, we find a remarkable exchange where Jesus prepares his brother for the encounter with the toll-takers of the soul. He provides a specific sequence of words that acts as a spiritual frequency, but at the center of this defense is a question that Jesus himself used to strip the Archons of their disguise. This question is, by what authority do you claim to rule over the spirit of light? It sounds simple, but within the spiritual realm, it is a devastating strike against the foundations of the Matrix. You see, the Archons have no true origin. They are a byproduct of a cosmic mistake, a shadow with no substance of its own. When you look at a fear, a doubt, or a limiting belief and ask, by what authority do you speak for my soul? You force the Archon to reveal its empty hands. As the scholar David Brack has explored in his studies of early Christian identity, the Gnostics believed that naming a power was the first step to overcoming it. When you ask this question, you are not seeking an answer from the world, you are asserting your own divine lineage. You are reminding the shadows that they did not create you, they do not sustain you, and they have no right to define you. The Archons rely on your silent consent. They assume that because they are loud and persistent, you will accept them as the masters of your reality. But the moment you stand in the authority of the Christ light and demand to see their credentials, the illusion begins to dissolve. This is the secret of the spiritual warrior. It is not about fighting a war in the physical world, but about reclaiming the throne of your own consciousness. Stop for a moment and feel the power of that question vibrating in your chest. By what authority do you exist in my mind? If you were to ask this to your deepest fear right now, what would happen to that fear? Does it have a real foundation, or is it just a ghost of the past? I want you to write the word authority in the comments if you are ready to reclaim your spiritual sovereignty today. We are now standing at the edge of the final, most profound revelation. We have revealed the Archons and identified their tactics. But there is one final secret that Jesus whispered, a truth so powerful that it does not just reveal the rulers, but it completely transcends them. This final part is the key to the ultimate homecoming, the return to the source where no shadow can ever follow. Do not turn away now, for we are about to enter the Holy of Holies. The final and most powerful revelation, the one that Jesus whispered only to those who had traversed the deepest valleys of the soul, is a truth that shatters the very foundations of the material world. Throughout our journey, we have spoken of the Archons as external rulers, as cosmic architects of a grand illusion. But the ultimate key to liberation is the realization that the Archons only exist within the space where you have forgotten who you truly are. The question, by what authority do you claim to rule, was never meant to start a debate with a demon. It was designed to act as a command of awakening. It is the moment when the soul stops looking at the shadow and turns its gaze back to the source. As the scholar Gilles Quispel once observed in his study of the ancient mysteries, the true Gnostic realization is the discovery that the light you have been searching for in the heavens is the very same light that is looking out through your own eyes. This is the secret that the rulers of this world fear more than any rebellion or social change. They fear the day you realize that they are not your masters, but merely the reflections of your own unawakened state. When you stand in your absolute spiritual authority, the Archons do not just leave, they cease to be. They are like shadows in a room that vanish the moment the sun reaches its zenith. You are the spark of the eternal, a fragment of the infinite that was never born and can never die. The journey through the 7 blocks of this wisdom was a process of stripping away the layers of the counterfeit spirit so that you could finally see your own face in the mirror of eternity. As we reach the conclusion of this sacred transmission, take a moment to sit in the stillness of your own divinity. The promise has been kept. You now possess the ancient question and the understanding of the cosmic structure that has tried to hold you captive. But knowledge is only the beginning. The true work is to live every breath from the frequency of the light. Will you carry this fire with you into the world? Will you be the one who wakes others from the dream of the Archons? Share your final reflections in the comments below, for your words may be the very spark that another seeker needs to find their way home. You are no longer a stranger in a strange land. You are the heir to the kingdom of light, and the way is now open before you. Walk in peace, walk in power, and remember that the truth was always within you.